and some familiar names too. So my name is Colleen DeLange. I've been on staff here at MiRealSource, gosh, for 11 years now. It seems like a long time. And member of MiRealSource for 22. I'm also an agent. But really, my goal today is to show you some time-saving tips and techniques when you're doing lead gen. So many of us today are prospecting, trying to fill up that pipeline so that we've got, some great deals happening in the beginning of the year. Of course, we're coming into a changing market, so we need some great ways to pull in some new leads and have some great tools that you already get through MiRealSource. The cool thing about this class is it is not an upsell class. Everything that I'm going to show you today, you already have access to in MiRealSource. It's sometimes just including two products together. I'm going to show you a great way to actually put information out there, which of course anybody can do on social media, right? Grab that lead now that you've just put information out for it and bring it back to you. So I'm going to show you how to use capture pages, squeeze pages to not only give great information, to capture that great information and pull it back to you so you have real life people to start working with. I was teaching this out at a Remax office just the other day. The broker said, you know what, hey, Colleen, let's do a little test. I want to kind of do what you're going to show them, and let's do it before the class, and let's see if we get any new leads by the end of class. And I was happy to see that he actually got 12 new leads in that 2-hour time frame of us doing that class. So it really does work. I use it myself as an agent. Since I'm now on staff full-time, I don't sell quite as much as I used to, but the idea is I'm going to show you some key pieces. Again, everything that you already have, there's no upsells here, but I'm going to show you some great ways that you can use the tools that you have, take them out onto social media, not only post it, but bring it back home. And with that, I'm going to turn off my kind of fuzzy hair. Sorry, I didn't know I was going to be on camera today until about 11 minutes ago. So I'm going to turn off my fuzzy hair and we're going to get right into it. So there we go. All right. So where do you find all of your tools, the tools that I'm going to show you? When I came on board to MiRealSource, one of the things I did not like was that it seemed like the cheese was always moving, if you know what I mean. I like to find all of my tools in one convenient place. And so what we had Brian do, Brian is our Chief Technical Officer. He actually created a toolbox. So think of your as your toolbox today. It's where everything I'm going to show you is located. So when you are looking for your tools, you're going to start right here in resources. A couple different tools that are great for posting out onto social media. And again, not only pushing the information, but capturing the information. That's going to be right under your toolbox, which again is resources. You're going to see social media and lead gen. If you haven't played around with this yet, this is where you're going to find a lot of those great tools. Of course, they're also integrated many times right into your listings themselves. So where we're going to start off today is one of my favorite tools, and it's market stats. So right now, of course, we're heading into a little bit of a changing market. We also have these sellers who now for years and years, right, have been told it's a great seller's market. You're going to get way over asking, right? So their expectations are here. Now you're the agent, you're walking into their home and you're about to tell them maybe their home isn't going to get $20,000 and $30,000 over asking like it may have a year ago, right? So we have to sort of set those expectations, and that can be very hard. But not only that, but I want to take that great information and I want to start sharing the positive on social media too. So where do we do that? Well, we're going to do that again under our resources tab. We're going to go into market stats. Now, market stats has a bunch of different things that you can do into it. It's a great stats program. You can compare areas, you can tell stories, you can create graphs, put them out onto social media. There's actually a key piece that I love in market stats that a lot of people don't even know is here. And it's really going to be crucial. I actually use this for every CMA appointment that I go on. I have this as part of my CMA. What it is it's this fast stats right up here at the top. A lot of people don't know it's here, again, so I'm just going to point it out real quick in case you haven't used it. For me, every time I'm going on a listing appointment, I want to tell that homeowner what's going on right at this moment versus what's going on last year. Because again, they're setting their expectations on the numbers from last year, right? So I'm going to pretend for a moment that I'm going on a listing appointment tonight. Maybe it's in, you could use any city, but maybe it's in Shelby. We're going to use Shelby Township because that's kind of where my office is located. And I want to, with one click, by simply clicking on the map, I want to be able to tell that story. And again, you could tell the story by county, or because I want to create this in Shelby Township, I'm going to click into Macomb County. I'm going to click on the city, and it's going to create a PDF or a map that I can use in multiple places with all of the stats. I'm going to try to blow this up just so you can see it a little bit better because I know it kind of comes out kind of small. But right now, if I'm going on a listing appointment and I'm trying to tell my seller kind of what's going on in the marketplace at this moment, this is a great graph to use that I created again in one click by simply clicking on the city name. And what it's going to tell that seller right here is the story we're all watching, right? So from last November, and it's always a rolling 30 days behind, just so you know, from last November to this November, we are down about 5%, so not too scary. Last November, we had 137 homes on the market, and right now we have 130 in the city of Shelby Township, or the township of Shelby. So now we go here into our average sales price, but we're starting to tell a different story, right? Last year, our average sales price was 421,000. This year, our average sales price, as you can see, because we're dropping down into that 408 market, right? We're also seeing it's taking, when you're clicking on a lot of these cities, we can see how long it's taking to close. We can see how long it's taking for these listings to go pending. We can see that our days on market is going up, right? So we're all kind of watching the story. But if you are preparing to walk into a listing appointment and you're going to need to tell that story of what's going on, this is a great graph to use. Again, you can also post these graphs out for counties. You can post them out for cities so that you can share them out onto social media and sort of tell your story. Another great way to do that, and an easy way to sort of tell a story, is again using that same tool, but we're going to actually create a shareable graph right out onto social media. By the way, just before I leave this graph, down below are also condos. So it does break the single family home market down, and it also breaks down those condos. So if you're getting ready to go into a condo listing appointment, you're going to want to have those numbers as well. So a little bit different story in our condo market. Yeah, it's down 12%, but we're still seeing the need for condos going up, and we're still seeing that average sales price is holding steady and going up in this case. So these are great graphs. If you haven't used the fast stats, I am a really big fan of them. And by the way, if you have any questions today, feel free to put them in the questions or the chat, and I will be checking that periodically so we can go ahead and address them. I wish we could be standing in front of everybody again, but we're hoping to open up that hybrid classroom a little bit more in the beginning of the year. For right now, again, if you have any questions or you want to see something again, don't hesitate to put it in the chat or the questions box, which is in GoToWebinar, which is probably minimized at the right-hand side of your screen right now. So again, just one more recap. Go into market stats, click on fast stats here at the top, find the county that you want to tell the story. So if I want to, again, tell the story of what's going on maybe in Ray Township or maybe in Macomb Township, I'm simply clicking on that city. It's again going to create that PDF. Let me just open that up here. And again, we can see exactly what's going on. And each city is very different right now. It's kind of an interesting time in the market because we're seeing a shift in the market, but some cities are still up. Some cities are still seeing an increase in our average sales price. But what's the interesting thing to watch right now is our pending sales. So these are great not only for educating your sellers, but for us to kind of keep an eye on exactly what's going on in our marketplaces as well. All right, so getting back to fast stats. Fast stats is a great way to share the information, but as I mentioned, when you go into Paragon and you go into that resources area, you'll see market stats. That's, of course, where you can get to fast stats, but it's also where you can create fast stats to tell your story on social media. I'm a big fan of this. So, one of the stories that we're still looking to show is that it still is a great market to sell in. We're still seeing, a lot of homeowners are still getting asking or slightly above asking. We don't have that crazy, 26 showings in a day and, everything is getting 40 and 50 grand over. We're not seeing that so much anymore. But if we want to show the story of why they still want to sell now and put their home on the market now, still do that. We can go down and tell our story. So think these blue tiles at the bottom, if you will, as the story that you might want to tell. Like right now, if you're looking at price per square foot, there's still sellers are still getting more for their homes than they have. So if we want to tell that story onto social media, what we can do is find the story you want to tell. Maybe you want to show that pending sales are slowing down. Maybe you want to show that the sales prices are still holding steady. So think of these blue tiles down below as the story that you want to tell. So I'm going to show price per square foot on average. Now, the next thing is, where do you want to tell your story? So maybe you do a lot of business in, let's say, Sterling Heights. Go ahead and use that. Maybe you also want to compare that to what's going on in the Shelby Township market we just looked at. Go ahead and click on Shelby. You can actually stack the areas. We kind of looked at Macomb there briefly. So maybe I want to tell the story of what's going on in those areas. Now, let's face it, the consumer on Facebook and social media, they're going to have no idea what this graph actually means, right? So we need to make it user friendly. One point I want to add is I have a lot of friends who do waterfront, or maybe they work a big area and it's over quite a few cities, and you want to tell the story for that area. Of course, you could go in here, you could add in counties, you could add by postal code, you could do a county, you could do a school district. There's also another option that I'm a big fan of, especially if you do like waterfront. Or maybe you do a big rural area. You can actually draw your own areas. So where it says my areas up here, it will actually open up a map and you can actually highlight the areas that you want to target. And then you can simply apply my areas when you're talking about these different areas. So it's cool. It'll give you all the stats for an area that you set up, as well as when you're comparing these cities or even counties. But let's face it, if we're looking at this, it's not going to be too user-friendly for the consumer. You can also add in things like property type, square footage, waterfront, acreage. You can actually add these filters in as well. I'm just going to do a nice, easy one today. So I'll say I want to now make this user-friendly. We want to show people on social media what this is going to look like. So I'm going to go into, instead of my line graph, which I've always been not a big fan of, I want to make this more of a bar graph so it's easier to read. Of course, you can choose how far you want to go back. You can do rolling 12 months. You could break it into quarters. So you're kind of picking what you want here. Now I can see, okay, in 2020, that homeowner was receiving $141 price per square foot. But look, in 2022, 177. So you take an average 1,000 square foot brick ranch. This is a great story to tell, right? That they're still getting a higher amount than they would have in years. So maybe I want to write something like that in my social media post, is look how much more you'd be getting for selling your house in 2022 than you would have if you sold in the previous years. So again, trying to generate that good buzz. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to share this out. There's a few different ways you can share it. You could share it so it's static, or think of that as kind of locked. Those numbers are kind of locked, telling the story that you want. You could also share it live, though, meaning if they click on it a month from now, it's going to give updated numbers. So that way it's giving just the latest numbers. Now I want to share this out onto social media. So I want it to be designed to be easily shared that way. So I'm going to click the share button. And as you can see, it's asking me, okay, here's the URL in case I want to send it via email, in case I want to post it on my website. But I'm going to go ahead and just share this out easily in a way that most people will recognize. I think I'm just going to share it out to Facebook. So the idea is I'm going to go ahead and I am going to share this out to Facebook by just clicking this share button, and it will again now post it out onto Facebook. There's, of course, many different places that you can share it. There's 181 sites actually that you could share it to. So you're just picking where you want to share this graph. Of course, this graph is live. It's going to have your contact information. It's going to allow you to easily, and it allows other people, when they're seeing it, they can share it as well. So the idea is you've got this easy to read graph. And now what I want to do is I click on my Facebook button. And now I want to say something about this graph. Again, when they're looking at it, they're going to be able to go in and actually see the numbers live. If you've made it that way, it's interactive. But there's one more step to this. Now, of course, you could share this to your business page. You could share this to your personal page. You could share it on a company page. If maybe you have a private group for your company. You can actually share it several different ways. If you're brand new to sharing things out onto social media like this, you can also share it privately to yourself first. So instead of maybe sharing it publicly, maybe you want to share it to only you. So you can choose, do I want to share it to friends? Or if you click on the More button, you can share to only me. It means only you're going to see it. So if you're a little bit nervous about posting something new on Facebook, I know I am. I always kind of like to be the guinea pig first. Like, what are they going to see? Is it going to be really easy to do? I want to see it first to make sure it looks right. So you can actually, instead of posting it to friends or posting it publicly, you can actually post it to only me, and then you have an opportunity to see it first. All right, so I hope that makes sense. Now, the second thing we want to do is we want to write a call to action. What does this mean? What story are you trying to tell? This is where you're going to tell it. Studies show, and NAR's done a lot of studies on social media, studies show that it really should be between 3 and 5 sentences. It should not be paragraphs and paragraphs. They're not going to read that, right? So really between 3 and 5 sentences with a closing call to action. Meaning whether it's your cell phone number or how they can get a hold of you or why they want to sell and then how to get a hold of you. So this would be where we're writing our story, we're putting in our call to action so that people can click on it, they can see that interactive graph and they know why they should click on it, right? All right, so the next thing is, what if I told you, I mean, it's great to put information out, right? This is great to post out and it's great to put on your business Facebook page as well as sharing it to your personal Facebook page. And that's all great, but anybody can put anything on social media, right? How do you create that capturing and pulling it so you have a real live lead to work with? So when I'm writing my call to action, I include something that is actually already created for you called a squeeze page. And I'm going to show you exactly how it works. I'm going to show you where to find it. And I'm going to show you examples of what it looks like when it's all tied together. So really, the first part of our project here is kind of done. We've created our story. But not only do we want to push that information out, we want to capture who's looking at it and who might be interested in selling their home, right? That's where that squeeze page comes into play. So we've created our graph. We'd write a story like sellers are still receiving higher offers for their home or more price per square foot. Maybe I'd talk about an average 1,000 square foot home, how much more that would be. So if you do the math, it's a really good story to tell right now, especially as people are starting to hear about this changing market we're entering into. All right, so that's kind of the first key. The second piece is, how do you create a squeeze page link that, one, connects them to you, but basically is a way to capture the details, the name, their address of where they live behind the scenes, right? So that is using cloud CMAs, and it's kind of an automated process. It's called What's Your Home Worth? So let me show you where you're going to go. Now, if you remember nothing else, other than that lady with the fuzzy hair, she talks really fast. How am I going to remember all this? Don't worry, I'm going to leave you, this class is being recorded, so you can watch it at any time. I'm going to leave you with where you can find all the how-to guides, because you're never going to remember how to do this step by step. Don't worry, we don't expect you to do that. Basically, what I'm going to leave you with is a bunch of help tools. So, of course, you'll have this recording that you can go to anytime right from Paragon so that you can see exactly what we did. step by step again. But I'm also going to leave you with cheat sheets in case you just want to follow along and check, did that. We're going to leave those with you too. So basically, we've got our graph, we're sharing it out onto social media, we're writing our call to action, but where's that squeeze page? Where's that other piece? If you remember nothing else, remember that you're going to actually want to find that under your toolbox again, your resources, if you will. All right, looks like we might have one question. Let me hit that too. Okay, good. Oh, thank you, Jamie. Yes, I promise, because you're probably thinking, wow, there's so much here. How am I going to remember it all? And you're not. The answer is that's why we created these videos and these cheat sheets to help you step by step. All right. So where do you find that second piece? And that's in Paragon. So in Paragon, again, going to our agent resources, which is again your toolbox where all your tools are, this is where we're really looking for Cloud CMA this time. Okay? Because Cloud already builds a squeeze page for you. So we just kind of as a recap, we started off with social media, right? We created market stats, a story that we want to tell. Now we're going to get one more piece to finish up that graph we're working on. We're going to go into Cloud CMA. Now, if you have not used Cloud CMA, I teach a lot of cloud classes. Cloud CMA is truly my favorite CMA product, but it does so much more. It does flyers, property reports. I have used 7 different CMA programs, and I will tell you, Cloud is by far the easiest. I think it makes a wowing presentation. It auto calculates now. Their new live version will tell you if your subject property's got more or less bathrooms, if it's got more or less square footage. You can do adjustments in it. It does a whole bunch of stuff. You can have personal pages that you bring in about you and your resume, but I love it. I think it's a great product. But where you're going to go, instead of doing a full CMA, what we're really looking for is that capture link, that squeeze page, if you will. So if you go into Cloud, over here on the right side, under your preferences, you'll see, and I apologize, your GoToWebinar box may be covering this. So I'm just going to show you where it is. If you can't see it, you might have to adjust your GoToWebinar panel a little bit. But if you go over and you follow my mouse to the right, you will see my avatar or my picture. If you haven't added a photo, it'll just be your initials. But basically, when I click on that, it's where you go in to adjust your account settings, add custom pages. But what we're looking for right now is the lead generation tool. Okay, so we're going to click on that. And what it does is it automatically creates a landing or squeeze page for you. So let me kind of explain what this is. So if you want to see what yours looks like, you can click on View My Landing Page. And what it's going to show you is when they click on the link, it's just going to ask them, do you want to know what your home's worth? Just enter your property address right here. I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like when people on Facebook and social media click on it. This is what it looks like. But now what I want is I want the link so that I can actually embed this into my graph that we just made. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to where it says copy link. Okay. And basically behind the scenes, that's exactly what it's doing. It's just copying your link so we can insert it into our post. There's a few other things I want to show you while we're right here before we do that though. You can automatically have a notification that's sent right out to anyone who clicks on your squeeze page, which I do. I love that. You could also embed this on your website. I have actually embedded this on my email signature. So when I go to write, and if I go to write an email, at the bottom where it says Colleen DeLange and my name and my company information, I have this link embedded. So it says, do you want to know what your home is worth? Click here. That will take them right to this squeeze page. Of course, you can share this out onto Facebook directly from here. You can tweet it. But remember, we want to give them a reason to click on this link, right? So it kind of just tells you a little bit about how to do each one of these things. But basically, the most important thing we're doing is we're just copying the link. That's the key. All right, so we've started this great call to action. We've created this wonderful graph that we're going to use, right? So we've now said we want to share this out onto Facebook. Oh, got it right here. And now I'm creating the story that I want to tell. All I really want to do is I want to add that link in. So the story I want to tell is sellers are receiving more for their home than they have, or more than they have in years. In this changing market, now is the perfect time to sell. Look, on an average 1,000 square foot home, look what you would be receiving now versus 2 years ago. Call me right away or click on the link below to see what your home is worth. So by embedding that link here and actually giving them a reason to, they can see the information, but I'm giving them a reason to click on the link and simply add in their address. Okay, now it does a whole lot more behind the scenes there. So let's go back into, and I'm just going to pull up my Facebook so you can actually see the finished product. By the way, of course, you want to have a business page set up. A lot of people are saying, well, I can share everything to my personal page, but keep in mind, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with, having a personal page. That's good. But keep in mind with NAR looking at, and usually it's not intentional. So let me explain that too. With NAR looking at people sharing their listings and wanting all the consumers to be able to see things equally, and not steering against, not steering one, and not violating any fair housing, what we're looking at right now is when agents are sharing their listings out onto, so they just get the listing, right? And they want to share it out onto Facebook. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just had a lady who was a good example in my class the other day. We had just started using Facebook. She only had about 12 people who were all her family, right? So she's sharing her new listing. She's excited about it. She's putting it into she's going to be putting it into the MLS. But unfortunately, because she shared it out to 12 people who are all related to her, the same ethnicity, it could be looked at as fair housing issues where you didn't share it equally amongst everyone. So don't do that. Have a business page set up. Share it to your business page and share it to your personal page. Now you've covered that everyone's getting the opportunity to see your great listing, and you've still shared it amongst your family who may be looking. So just think about that and know that NAR is investing a lot of money on cracking down on this. And again, it's usually not intentional. It's usually something that you don't even think about. I only have 30 people on there. It just happens to be family. So keep in mind, it's a great idea, a great business practice to share it to your personal page, and then to share it to your business page, and then share it to your personal page. Another reason to do that is, did you know that on your business page, you can actually add your own personal app? So I'm a big fan of HomeSnap. HomeSnap is a product that you get through MiRealSource. You can do searches on the fly. You can edit your listings on your phone. You can see disclosures when you're walking through a house with your buyer. Buyer can say, hey, what's this evidence of water here? And you can actually see the seller's disclosure on your phone and share it to your buyer. So I'm a huge fan of that app. But there's a reason that you want to add your app to your business page. When you add it to your business page, when they click on HomeSnap, they are connected to you. Every time they look at a home, they're only seeing your contact information. So if they just went and got HomeSnap from the App Store, guess what? They see all the listing agent information. They pull up in front of a house. They want the details. They're using HomeSnap. They get the listing agent information. Wouldn't you rather it's your information and your phone number? That's the benefit of them having the app from you. If you give them your branded app, they don't see the listing agent information. They see you because they're working with you and you're their agent. So that's kind of the benefit. So I'm going to actually show you, and hopefully you can see this. I know I've been kind of bouncing around a little bit. But on my face, and this is just an example of mine. Again, you could set it up totally different, whatever you want. But on my business page, I have it so they can actually download the app right when they go to my business page. You can set up services and times you're available to ask questions, which connects them directly to you. So you can do a lot with your business page. So I really strongly suggest you have one. But I also want to show you, you can post things like from our new home source, which is working with builders. These are houses that are not yet listed. So I'm a big fan of that. There's all kind of great I'm going to show you this next post right from social media, how you can post listings. But I want to show you an example of the graph that we just created. So as you can see, I teach this a lot. I put it in here quite often. I use it personally too. But these are all great things that I post, and they're all tools that you have through MiRealSource. So the post I wanted to show you is right here. And again, I apologize. I usually have it all queued up ahead of time, but with only 11 minutes notice, didn't have quite that much time. So the post that I want to show you is the same thing that we just did. So we created this graph and we wrote our call to action. So sellers are receiving higher prices, call me today. So that's great, right? But how do you get that back? By including the link, they now can not only see the live information or the interactive information. So I'm just going to click into the graph for a moment so you can kind of see what they see. When they click into that graph, they can go in, they can review the numbers, as you can see. They can also share it with others. So that's wonderful. But I really want them to click on the link, okay? Because the link is click on the link below to find out what your home is worth. So a lot of times when a seller's thinking about putting their home on the market, they're maybe not quite ready to just call a realtor, right? Otherwise, they'd just be calling people. Right now, they kind of want to know, well, what is my home worth? You know, and I'm not ready to contact an agent yet. I'm just going to find out. So I'm just going to click on the link and find out what my house is worth. So how it works is they start typing in their address, and it quick fills for them because it needs to find it on the map to send you their address so you can start working with them. So basically, they type in their address, it starts quick filling, and they click on the magnifying glass to find it. It says, okay, great, we found you right here. Just put in your name and we'll email you that report. It does verify that it is a real email address. So they're not putting in like joedon'tcallme.com, right? We need a real life email address so it can send that report to them. And then it asks for an optional phone number and an optional square footage. They don't put it in, still going to work for them. But if they do, it actually gives you even more information to work with. The last thing they do is click email my report. Behind the scenes, automatically, without you having to do anything, guess what? It just sent them your prepared web presence that you've set up in cloud. And what I mean by that is it actually allows you to create exactly what you want to be sent to them. So what happens is it just sent to this person, it just sent my resume, a little bit about my company, and a little bit about who I am. Behind the scenes, they also got a couple random comps. Let's face it, they could find on Zillow or Realtor.com 3 or 4 houses in the area by them that have recently closed. But guess what? They didn't have to do anything. Now, when I say it gave them 3 or 4 closed properties, it does not give them a number. It does not give them your home is worth this. What it shows them is a few random closed properties right by them. Behind the scenes, you, the agent, just got an email and it says you have a new lead. When you click on that, it will show you exactly what was sent to them, and it will also give you their contact information so that you now can reach out to them and say, Sally Sue, I see you were wondering what your home is worth. I happen to know when we were at the barbecue, you did a lot of updates, and I think it'd be worth even more. How about I come out and do a real CMA for you so you can see exactly what it's worth? It's really just designed to pass your contact information and some random comps to them. And now you have their information so you can start following up and working with them. Okay? So I know you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, well, you know, what do they see? Well, I'm going to just jump over to my email here because I want you to see exactly what they're going to see. So remember, all of this happened by us just creating this graph, inserting that link, and creating a great post to share out on social media. And hopefully you're sharing this on your business page as well as your personal page. The nice thing is when you get leads off your personal page, you generally know those people. And so now you can follow up with them even further. You have that relationship established. All right, so I'm just going to open up my email here real quick. So I'm just going to go into my email. Now you're going to notice that I have 2 emails. Of course, the first one says, Colleen, this is coming to you, the agent. This is telling you you have a new lead. And this is going to show you it came through the landing page that we posted. Going to show you who the new lead is and what their email is. If they put in a cell phone, that will also be displayed here. And it's going to show you exactly what got sent to them. So I can click view report and I can see exactly what was sent on my behalf. It sent them that there are 2 actives by them, that there are 16 sold, and it even grabbed 3 to 5 of those to create something to send to them. What they got, let's take a look at what the consumer received. So when they click on it, they can click into view my report and they can see everything that just got sent to them. Now you're probably thinking, well, how do you set up what gets sent to them? And that would be a really good question because that's going to be super important. We got to set that up in cloud. Thank you, Jamie. You're making my day. So a good question. Okay, so Deborah has a question. I noticed when I go into share it, it pulls up share to friends timeline, group, or event, and not my business page. How do we send this directly to our business page? Great question. So usually you'll find page that you manage because you're right. It's asking you where would you like to share this information? Kind of go back here. Just jump back for a second. When I do this new window, and I'm just going to kind of walk you through it step by step. So let's say we want to share it on Facebook. Now there's 2 parts to this. So let me say, when you are sharing this right up here at the top, this is where you're going to find, you can share on a friend's timeline, you can share in a group. If you have your business page connected to your personal page, this is also where you're going to find, it will say share to a page that you manage. Of course, you can share to your story down below here. And let's see, I think that there's even an option, if I remember correctly, there's even an option under friends, that will ask you, do you want to share to a page you manage? So you'll either find it up here in the dropdown, but remember, that would mean that you set up your business page and it is connected where you can share from one to the other. Matter of fact, if you want to reach out to me after the class, we can actually go through and make sure that they are connected. So normally you will see that if you have your business page set up, and I'm actually just sharing directly to my business page here, if you have them so that you created one from the other, you will see that you can actually share them in a page you manage. You can share them to a group. You can share them to an event. So you're actually just picking where you want to share these. So hopefully it helps. If you don't see it, and someone else told me that they also saw another option in feeds down here where there more is, that's allowing you, and I've already closed this graph, so I apologize, I'm kind of going backwards. But you can also click share to a page I manage. And someone said they found that under the more. Remember when we went in and we shared only to us? That's where you will find that. So you can find it there too. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. You can create it again if you'd like to kind of go over the whole thing, but you'll find it in one of those 2 spots, that drop down, and you're going to share to a page you manage, which will show you your business page or pages if you have more than one. All right, so hopefully that helped. All right, so just to kind of recap, because I know, and again, we're recording it, so don't panic. I promise you all this information will be available and I will show you exactly how to use it. Remember that you're going to be looking for, in Paragon, you're going to be starting with your resources page. This is where we're going to go into our market stats. That's again where you're going to be able to create that story. You can also use fast stats and share those. But remember, what gives us the lead back is going into Cloud CMA, copying that link under lead generation, and then posting those 2 together. And that's going to give us this graph with the link for people to click on. Okay, and as you can see, it actually says manage page. You'll see that same drop down again, Deborah. And I hope I answered your question correctly. You're going to look for a page that you manage. You'll either find that in the option under friends, or you'll find it in that drop down, depending on how you've created your business page. You'll find it in that drop down at the top. Let me know if I didn't answer your question, or if you need to see it further, we can even go in afterward. All right, so a couple things. So we're going over a lot of detail today, and this is a kind of a hard to teach class because it's kind of combining a lot of different programs. And if you are taking this class and you're like, you know what, Colleen, I have some specialty things I've set up on my Facebook page, and maybe I do business a little bit differently. I don't know if you're aware, but MiRealSource actually offers one-on-one classes like we're doing, just like this. But we do them via Zoom. So I see you, you see me, and we can actually address your questions. These are free services that you get, and you can actually find that through the MiRealSource Facebook page. So I'm going to just show it to you. So if you're trying these, and let's say you try it and you say, okay, yeah, Colleen, you know, I got this. You try it and you're like, you know what? I have a couple questions about some of this, or maybe I did it and it didn't look exactly like you did, Colleen. If you go to the MiRealSource Facebook page, just go to Facebook, type in MiRealSource. Under services, you can book a free one-on-one with myself or Debbie or any of our trainers that are on staff. Say that you wanted a little more information about lead capture, what we're doing right here. You can actually click and book a 30-minute spot for free with any of our trainers. A lot of people aren't aware of this, so I like to point it out because let's face it, you start trying something and let's say it's, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you're like, oh, geez, I want to get this post out, but it just doesn't look quite like hers did. How do I do that? Remember, you can go right to the MiRealSource Facebook page. Just simply click on what you're having trouble with. It will give you times that are available, and you can actually book a free one-on-one with any of our staff. Just let us know if you have a personal preference of who you want to meet with. And then we'll actually go into your questions. It's a live call, so it's not recorded. You'll ask your questions, we'll go through them together, and then we'll try to, if you're having an issue, we'll try to troubleshoot that issue, or if you just need some ideas, that's what we're here for. That's all a free service again, and it's all as part of your membership through MiRealSource. We want to help you create business. We want to help you create listings for the future, and that's really our goal. Okay, so enough talking about that. Let's talk about another piece that you get, and that is, I think, one of my favorites. I am never lucky enough to get the $3 million listings like my good friend Tom Lipinski, so I'm going to use his here. Matter of fact, I just closed my hoarder special. It was definitely not even one you'd want to look at, trust me. So I'm going to use Tom's here, and I'm going to show you the single property website. So I'm a big fan of this. Very easy to promote. Let me tell you why I'm a fan of this one. So many times, especially for new people, I see this a lot when people are new. We work so hard, we get these listings, and right now it's tougher to get listings, right? People are a little bit unsure of the economy. They're a little bit nervous about not being able to find what they're looking for. So a little bit more hesitant about putting their homes on the market. So now we go out, we get them to list with us. We work so hard. We take great photos. We put in great comments. We write captions and descriptions. We're doing all this to sell this listing, right? What happens is these agents then go and they share it out onto Zillow and Redfin, or they're sharing it with someone who just bought the zip code and is now taking your lead. I never will understand this. I get it. I get some people are spending like 15 grand being premier Zillow agents. And God bless you if that's you and that's working for you. Wonderful. I am not that fortunate. Something that when I share it, I want it to look really awesome, but I want it to bring the lead back to me. So if you are that person, let me show you a better way to share your listings where, again, you don't have to do anything. This is actually all automated. This is done completely for you, and it's called the single property website. What we have is we have contracted with a third party. So when you add a listing into the MLS, it takes all that great information. It takes about 30 minutes from the time you add it in to when you get the email that says, hey, your single property website is ready to be shared. So let me show you one in its entirety. And again, I'm going to use a lot fancier one than mine. What you will find is you get the email, and of course you can share it right from the email that you receive. But let's say it's a few hours later and you want to go in, you want to take a look at your listing and start promoting it. you're going to find the single property website. It's this blue check mark that appears in your quick action links on your listing. So you're going to see kind of this blue check mark. When you click on that, it's going to open up the single property website for you. Now, this is really cool. This is one of my favorite things. We now have the highest resolution in the state of any other MLS for photos. That means when you put your photos into MiRealSource, you're not seeing those little dinky squares that you see many times being shared out onto syndication sites or IDX sites. Nope, you're actually seeing the highest resolution available in the state. So it kind of looks like this. By the way, if they're looking on their phone, it's got a great mobile view. It looks identical. It's going to blow these photos up so that they're large. Let me kind of show you what the high resolution photos look like when you're going through them through the gallery. Again, they'll see this on their phone, on their tablet, and it will be blown up for that high resolution view. So it fills their entire screen. Now, what I like about this is a couple different things that we've done a little different. And some people don't know this, so you may already know this, so I apologize if I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, but there are different types of tours and that you can put in the MLS. So, of course, you can put Matterport tours in, you could do circle picks, you can do virtual tours, you can do property photo tours. There are 4 different places that you can add tours in. You can have something called a branded tour. You can also have an unbranded tour. So then people look at me like, well, what the heck is the difference? What is one versus the other, and how does it work? A branded tour is where you can actually go through the house and give your own contact information. So a branded tour can have your logo and phone number on it. Now, everybody always says, Colleen, wait, don't you fine for that in the MLS? Actually, no, there's a space for branded and a place for unbranded. And there are 4 different spaces, actually. A branded tour is where you could literally walk through the house and say, hi, my name is Colleen. I work for ABC Realty. Let me take you through this listing. You know what? I work with great lenders. I'm the right agent for you. Here's my phone number. Call me. Let's get you in this house. Okay. A branded tour can go into the MLS because it can be shared out to sites that are set up for branded tours. Unbranded tours are equally important. Those are the ones that you want your clients to see, right? You don't want your clients seeing a house with George McGee's name and phone number on it, right? So we want the ones that are going out through the MLS to agents, clients. We want those always to be unbranded because we want them to continue working with you, not Josh McGee and his phone number, right? So there's different spots in the MLS. They simply say branded and unbranded when you're adding your listing in. The cool thing, and the reason I'm bringing this up, I really do have a point, I promise. The reason I'm bringing this up is your single property website grabs your branded. So it knows, okay, it's okay to show Josh McGee's phone number and Josh McGee's contact name on this house because it's Josh McGee's. So we can promote it out on the social media so you can actually have even further exposure. At the top here where you see video tour, this will be Tom's branded, meaning he has his contact information, his phone number, and information about him on his listing. So it's promoting you even further. When it's shared by others, it's still promoting you. So if 10 people share it, it's still only showing your contact information as the agent and your, again, branding that you have in the MLS. All right, so I hope I made that clear. I was kind of confused on it a long time ago, so I'll try to make it as clear as I can. Of course, people looking at it on social media can request a showing, which basically just emails you when they're going to be available to see it. Down below, of course, are all the details in a nice, easy to read format. It's got all of the features. I love how it displays the room sizes very clearly. It just makes it easy. It's what the consumer wants, right? They wants it to be easily accessible. They don't want to have to dive through an MLS report, right? They just want to see the details easy. Of course, they can drive to the property. They can get directions from here. They can see it on the map view. They can scan the QR code if they want to, share it that way. They can contact the agent. They can actually on their phone click on the phone number and be immediately connected to you. But my favorite part is actually right down below. The only other listings I'm seeing, I'm not seeing other agents. I'm only seeing other for sales and other pendings for this agent. It also will show 90 days of close. So the 90 days of closed properties, that is. So you're probably thinking, well, why would you want to show closed properties? Well, good question. If you just got your seller 10 grand over asking and you sold it in 7 days cash, that's a story you still want to promote. So you can click on your single property website and share that out onto social media. So the reason it gives you those 90 days worth of closed properties is if you have a great success story that you want to share on social media, you can share it that way. To share these out onto social media, all you have to do is pick where you want to share it. You can go ahead and share it to Facebook. You can tweet it out from here, put it on Pinterest. Of course, you can email it to someone. You can share in LinkedIn. So it makes those easy shares right over here to the right. Again, if you're going to be promoting your listings, it's great to promote you and all your successes. Don't feel like you have to use other, IDX sites that are going to promote the people who just bought the zip code, especially if you're new or if you're like me and you're not spending the $15,000 a month to be a premier agent. So keep in mind, your single property website is done automatically for you. There's nothing you have to do. Simply put your listing into Paragon. It's created. It emails you the link, but you can also find that quick action link directly out on the listing ticket itself. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. If you have not used the single property websites, just open up your listing again in Paragon. Go to that quick action link right here. It looks like a check mark, and you can share it directly from there. Now, here's a little secret most people don't know. If you go under resources and you want to see all your single property website, let's say you have 10 listings right now. If you do, God bless you, because man, that's awesome. If you've got 10 listings right now and you want to share them all, we actually put under property inventory links right here, all the links to each and every single property website you have going. As a matter of fact, let me kind of show that to you. Bear with me one second. We'll use Tom's here to kind of just stay with the same theme. It's probably Thomas Lipinski, I think. There we go. I'm just going to kind of show you because he usually has a few listings at a time, so I can kind of show you what it looks like here. It's good to have friends who all have all the fancy listings. Again, my hoarder special, not so exciting, but I'm going to go into inventory links here. So as you can see, each one of these is Tom's listing. And if I want to share it out onto social media, just by going to resources and going to that single property inventories link, I can see each one. So if I want to promote this one, I can go ahead and simply click on it and now promote that one via Facebook over here to the right. And if you can't see my mouse, I apologize. Sometimes GoToWebinar kind of covers that, but hopefully you can see those share buttons right over here to the right. All right, so that is the single property website. Again, if you have any questions about the single property website, if you have any questions about sharing out onto social media, now's a great time to go ahead and throw those in the questions box. Okay, so the next one I'm going to show you is HomeSnap. Actually, before I switch over to my phone to show you the mobile HomeSnap, let me show you one last thing right under resources here. Under resources, you're going to also have, as I mentioned, a social media. I'm actually going to go back to me here for just a second so you can see ones that I have set up. Under social media, remember when we were looking at Facebook and I had posted some items for the new home sorts? So let me see if I can pull those up pretty quickly here. Bear with me. And again, I kind of apologize. Usually I have all these windows open and it just makes it that much easier. Today, we're kind of working on the fly here. So you're getting the real life tour just as it is. All right, so when I am looking at this one, just so you can kind of see it. So I'm looking at my business page. Some of the things that you can do that I've posted on my business page, and of course you want to change up what you're posting as your social media presence, right? Don't be that dry agent who every day puts the same post on there and says, hey, buying or selling, think of me. That nobody wants that, right? You want to have it changed up a little bit. There is some great Facebook sites that give you funny content, like the lighter side of real estate. I love, they got great posts. You can share them, and gives you funny little real estate memes. They do a great job of posting quite often. So there's always something new on there. They give you great ideas as well. But one of the other things that I kind of wanted to point out here is we're having to think a little bit more outside the box, right? We don't really have enough inventory. And one of the things that we've started offering is a way for you to promote that you are working with builders who have listings that aren't yet on the MLS. Okay. So when, let's say that Joe Schmagegi is your buyer and they're like, you know what, I don't know, maybe we're going to stop looking. We can't find anything. Get those buyers to work with you when they're getting frustrated or they've lost a couple of houses and they are really getting antsy. Well, a great way to do that is post out onto social media that you have one-on-one connections with builders. And although they may not see the listings in the MLS or in their sources yet, that you're working with builders in up and coming communities that they're breaking ground on right now. Great idea, right? This is another way to capture more leads. So we have partnered with New Home Source. And basically what they are is 3,000 builders across the country that say, yeah, we use the MLS. We put our listings once they're ready. But what about things that are just spec homes? We don't want to pay, to just pay an agent to picture a hole in the ground, right? Doesn't make much sense. We want to talk about new and upcoming communities, and we want you, the agent, to collect a commission on it. So what New Home Source did is they said, you know what? We're going to create a site that agents can go on right now, but we want to make sure those agents are protected. So agents can see up and coming communities. They can work with certain builders. They can actually promote links where clients can search new construction through you. But there's a button where you can actually register your client with a builder. So if they do go in on their own, you have registered your client and are now setting up that compensation agreement with that builder. Now, don't get me wrong, it registers them with the builder. So the builder has records. So they now say, okay, we have record of this. You still want to get an agreement of compensation with them. That's important. But what it does is it allows you to register it with the builder and then say, I would like to get an offer of compensation and cooperation agreement with you. So it's basically the first step, right? It's showing those buyers why they should work with you over any other agent, that you've got these inside connections. So what I've done, and here's kind of an example post. This is not one I actually put out there, but this is kind of an example for today. Buyers, don't lose hope. Your dream home is probably being constructed right now. They can then go in and start searching. You can also put new houses that are specs. So you're probably wondering, okay, so where do I find this? Because it's not in the MLS. Great question. Let's go there next. Again, I'm a big fan of not moving the cheese, keeping everything where it belongs in one easy to find spot. So when you go into Paragon, you're going to see resources, List Track, which is that single property website we just talked about. I wish Brian would just change the name, quite honestly, so we all hate when they move the cheese. Market Stats, we talked about that. Those single property inventory links all listed together for your single property website. But you'll also see New Home Source Pro. This is, again, where you can create a link where they can go in and search new construction through you. So I've already set up mine. So when you go under your name, it'll ask you for some contact information when you're setting it up if you have not set it up yet. So what you want to do is when you go into it for the first time, it will ask you, it'll give you a site name. You can change that, by the way. I think you can only change it up to 3 times, though. So kind of think about what you want it to be. It'll verify your contact information that's coming over from the MLS. It's where you can put your social media links in if you want to guide them, maybe to download HomeSnap from your Facebook business page, where you can put your logo in, you can put banners in, you can put what you want to be at the bottom of the page. You can insert your Google Analytics so they can see your ratings. Basically, you're setting up a page that they can search from that is really branded to you. Okay. You can also add your clients in. You can see saved searches that you set up for your clients. But remember that people ask me all the time, well, Colleen, what's the difference between this and the MLS? These are searching up and coming communities. These are not listed properties yet. And you can pick the areas and the builders that you actually want to work with. So let me show you one. So I have a client who's looking for new construction. This is the area that they're looking in. I can register a client with this builder if I know that they're interested. I can email or save this listing. Maybe I want to promote this listing out onto social media. I want to talk about this builder. I apologize, I don't have this one set up, but I want to talk about this builder out on social media that I'm working with. So you can actually pick the targeted areas that you want. You can even pick builders that you want. But again, these are mostly specs and these are not listed in the MLS yet. So the key is these are up and coming communities that they haven't said, yeah, I'm going to pay an agent to put in the MLS yet, because they're not done. Of course, once they're completed, then they can do that and they can put them in the MLS. But it's kind of like a sneak preview of what's coming. It will also show things like the floor plans, if it's under construction or if it's been completed. So these are great ways to share information out onto social media. You have up and coming listings that they can't see. This is a great reason, of course, for them to reach out and work with you. So hopefully that makes sense. I think I've actually got a couple posts that I've done. So that's one specific home. This is another one that I did early on. Buyers don't settle for a home that's less than best due to low inventory. See specs, see floor plans, see information about builders and up and coming communities. Just click here. You can also boost these. Now the boosting obviously would be an additional fee if you wanted to do that. But I'm telling you, they make it really, really easy. You can also promote who you are. And why they should work with you. So you can actually write in your new HomeSource Pro. It gives you a link that you can promote out, talking about you and how you work with these builders. So some really cool tools there as well. Okay, so let's see, a couple questions coming in. So bear with me one second while I read them. Can we share and promote other agents' properties without their permission? Great question. No. The answer is really, especially like from the single property website, it has that agent's branding right on it. Now, many brokers do offer policies. Obviously, if you're doing, let's say you're doing an open house for someone, as long as you have that agent's permission to go ahead and share their listing, you can with broker and agent permission. That's supposed to be the rule, and I would always have it in writing to cover myself. Remember that the single property website is the agent's own listing. So if you're talking about sharing that specifically, no, unfortunately not. However, let's say you're doing an open house for another agent. You can go into cloud and you can create great flyers and graphics with your information as long as you have the other agent's permission. So great question. So do the builders show up for everyone? Do you call a builder and make a contract? Great question. So yes, the builders, if you go into new HomeSource Pro, you can, again, register with that specific builder. But I do want to tell you, because it's not using the MLS, the great thing about the MLS is when you show a property that's in the MLS, you are agreeing to the compensation and cooperation that's listed there. So for instance, if they're offering 5%, we'll just use an odd number, 3%, 5%, whatever it happens to be. If they're offering that and you bring them an offer and the terms are met and that's what they're saying they're going to pay you. And when you're agreeing to that property, you're agreeing to that. Not saying there can't be negotiations on top of that. But that is what the minimum you've agreed to. problem with when you use these other sources like New Home Source Pro, they're not offering, they will show you in there what the compensation that they are offering, but it's not an MLS. It's not a guarantee. So although, yes, it's going to show you, I would always recommend getting that offer of compensation in writing with that builder. So many brokers have those already constructed so that you can just put in, here, I'm working with this buyer. Here's my agreement of what I'm expecting to be paid if they are purchasing through you. So see your broker on what you do. We used to have that until a couple of months ago. You even had to do that with the Northern Great Lakes Realtors. We have data sharing with 97% of the state now. And it's not, people always say, why does that mean anything? Well, in case you didn't know, just about 10 years ago, we had to belong to 3 different MLSs. We had to pay, 3 different fees in the area I work at. And if you wanted to put a listing in somewhere else, you had to pay a guest listing fee. Nothing talked to each other. And so you had to put the exact same fields in 3 different systems, which took forever to figure out, right? It just didn't work. And so what we decided to do at MiRealSource is we said, we're going to start this group. We called it the Great Lakes Repository when it started. And we are going to get the state, because we're licensed in the whole state, we want everything to be in your home MLS. Pay 1 fee, see all the data you need. And it's taken us a good, I think it's almost 12 years now, but we now have 97% of the state. So you see the compensation and cooperation for those listings of all 97%. We brought in the Northern Great Lakes Realtors, and they weren't so sure about data sharing early on. They were kind of like, you know what, we're going to take this in baby steps. We're going to put everything in there, but no offer of compensation and cooperation. So what that meant is you had to have an agreement before you showed a house of that you were going to get paid X amount of dollars of what you were expecting, because there wasn't compensation in the MLS. So that's kind of why that all happened. And so I apologize. I know it is an extra step, but if you know that they're really interested in a particular builder and you are sending them homes for that particular builder, you do want to make sure you're covered. Although you've registered with the builder, that's just the first step. You do want to reach out and say, hey, I've got this buyer's agreement. And I want to make sure that I'm going to be getting compensated from you directly, and then use your broker's form that offer what they're offering for compensation and cooperation. Usually it's just a 1-page form, nice and easy, but it does ensure that you're going to get paid, because remember, it's not the MLS. You are depending on these builders themselves. Okay, so that is New Home Source Pro. I, again, tested out. Really, it's just what I use it for mostly is to get buyers to know that you've got homes they may not see up and coming communities, and you can pick the areas that you want to work with and builders you want to work with, and you can promote those out onto social media. We do have a whole class on New Home Source Pro, so I apologize, I'm kind of going through it at warp speed just to get it all in here today, but there's a whole class on New Home Source Pro and how to use it, what to post, how to post your profile, and things like that. All right, let me make sure. I think I have just about everything covered. Oh, last one before I switch over. In using HomeSnap. So as I mentioned, I'm a very big fan of the HomeSnap. It's a great mobile MLS tool. I like to see it, I'd like for you to see it kind of as it really is. So I'm going to show it to you the way buyers are actually using it. And that's really on their phones. I mean, let's face it, today, most buyers, that is where they're searching. They're searching on their phone, and they want to be able to find properties quickly and easily. I am going to switch over to our mobile product here so that you can see it the way it's kind of really meant to be seen. So bear with me. I'm going to open up my reflector app to actually show you on the phone how it's going to look. I can show you on later. I can show you on the desktop version, but that's not really how our buyers are searching today, right? They're on their phones, they're driving around, they want information on properties, they want it to be easy. And so that's the way I'm going to show up. You're going to have to give me 2 seconds to connect here. Okay, so HomeSnap. HomeSnap is our last and final product for lead generation. So I don't know about you, but now there's an app for everything, right? HomeSnap, actually is the app I use as my mobile app. It's the one we promote because it does things I have not found in any other real estate app. Did you know, and I did not know this, did you know that you can actually find an unlisted property that's not been listed? So I'm going to use Deborah, who's been so kind today. Let's say Deborah has a buyer. They call Deborah and they say, you know what, Deborah, I heard that home on the corner over there. Heard that is going into foreclosure. It's going to be listed soon. And Deborah, of course, wants to get her buyer in there. The key is you can flag an unlisted home. So even if it's not, as you can see here, here's a home on my screen that is not listed. I can actually flag it by clicking the star, and it will alert you, the agent, when the property goes on the market immediately or if something changes on a listing. So it's really cool. If you haven't used HomeSnap before, it's truly a great tool. It is your mobile MLS tool, but you want to give it to your clients. As I mentioned, you do not want your clients searching for this in the MLS. The reason is it's going to show other contact information. Don't want that. You want to make sure that they are seeing just your contact information. Of course, you can see it will pull up the properties easily. Clients can draw exactly where they're searching with their fingertip. They can use a bunch of different tools in here. Big fan of a lot of this. But the thing I want to show you for lead generation today is that if you click on the Me button, you can invite your clients. Again, you can set this up on your Facebook business page so they can simply download it. Or here's a nice, easy way. You're going to click the invite button. Now, let me show you how I got here because I'm kind of bouncing around a little bit here. So if you have not downloaded the HomeSnap app, you want to do that. I'm going to show you a quick little tip here. As you can see, I have about 80 million things open. But if you are like me and there's so many real estate apps, create a real estate folder. Because let's face it, especially with all the different lockbox apps now, you've got your Centric Key, you got your Centric Connect, you got your Master Lock, you got your Super. Oh my God, it's annoying. So you want to have one place when your buyer is standing behind you and you're trying to get the stupid things open. You want to have one place where you're not fumbling through your apps trying to find it. I love Master Lock personally because the only app you need for it is Showing Time. It opens right from the Showing Time app, so sort of a big fan of that. The one you're looking for right now is HomeSnap. So you're going to download HomeSnap, and there are two versions. There is a HomeSnap for realtors, which gives you all the confidential information. And then there is HomeSnap that you can give your clients so they can search. It's a great app to give, but how you're going to give it is you're going to click on the Me tab at the bottom, and you're going to click Invite. This is where you can invite them via phone number, email address, or if you want to post the link, you can actually post it, like I said, onto Facebook using the share profile link. It's just that simple. It's really just homesnap.com/your first dash last name. But you can copy this link and you can post it. You can post it onto your Facebook business page. You can post it on social media, or you can click Invite Contacts. By the way, don't click the invite all. I just had a great agent call me, and she has about 1,000 people in her address book. She clicked invite all and sent it to everybody. So you really don't want to do that. You just want to invite. You can invite individually, invite via email or phone number, or you can even go through your contacts and select certain ones. That's how they're going to get the app from you. That ensures that they are only seeing your contact information on all the listings that they're looking at. Here's some other cool things you can do with this app. If you're sitting here, I mentioned I get the hoarder special, so I apologize. It's nothing that fancy here. But if I'm sitting here and I want to mark this listing pending, actually that one's already pending. That's already closed. If I want to mark the listing pending, if I want to put it back on the market, on your listing, you'll find edit a listing. So you can actually go in, you can edit your listings from here. Of course, you can see all of the detail. You can share it to a buyer right from your phone. You can tag it as a favorite. You can see all of the confidential information here. I can see who sold it, who had it listed. I can see what the compensation and cooperation is. I can do all of that. I can even see those seller's disclosures and lead-based paint when I'm showing the property. So if that buyer says, Deborah, well, what is this flooding from? I can not only pull it up and expand it to read it, but I can also hit this little share button you see, and I can actually share it to the buyer standing next to me. So I can airdrop it. I can send it via text. I can email it. The idea is there's so much. We have a whole HomeSnap class that will show you so much more than even I had time to go into today. But definitely start using HomeSnap. We're adding some more cool functionality in that's coming the beginning of the year. It's a great resource. Again, I love that I can search. I can even pull up show you real quick. I can even go in and pull up my saved searches in Paragon from my phone. So let's say Deborah's out showing her buyers around and they said, you know what, anything new come on the market today? Let me go into your Paragon search here and pull up your search and let's see. Actually, it looks like a couple did come up today. Let me click on this one. So you get the idea. I can actually go in and open up those searches and work on the fly. So hopefully that kind of gives you a quick tour of some great social media tools that you have access to. Again, tying some of those together can be extremely helpful. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this for just a moment. Tying those applications in, like when you're using the squeeze page, as well as using the single property website, using those market stats, and of course, promoting things like the new home source. So you can work with incoming builders. You can show them that, yes, there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that they can go in and see up and coming communities, even if it's not listed. All of those will have an impact on how many people that you continue to get to work with. So fill up those pipelines. Now is the time, right? I know we're all kind of getting into that Christmas mode, but after Christmas, we still have properties we need to sell. We still have buyers out there who do need to move. They get transferred. I know there's a lot of doom and gloom out there right now, but let's face it, people are always going to need to move. People have babies, they outgrow homes, they get transfers, they need to downsize. There's always going to be people who need to sell. And hopefully using these tools, you will be able to pick up some new leads to start working with. So again, I appreciate your patience. I don't see any additional questions. Let me just take one last look. If you do have any additional questions, now is a great time to go ahead and plug them in. Remember, we offer free one-on-ones. If you go to the MiRealSource Facebook page, you can sign up for those. Let me show you one last thing. See, I thought I was done, but I'm giving you a minute to type in any remaining questions. You're probably thinking, well, lady with the fuzzy hair, you talk so fast. How am I going to remember this? Where do I find the video? Well, I promised I would leave you with some great resources, so let me show you where you can find all of those. So under your resources tab, because remember, I want you to think of that as your toolbox. That's where you're going to find everything. Right down here under education, you will find recorded webinars. And I recorded this one today with you in mind, so you can go back, you can play it at any time. Debbie will probably, she has no internet today, so give her an extra day to do the editing and get it uploaded there. Or maybe if I get time on my lunch, maybe I can get that done. What you're going to want to do is you just click on what I think is playlists. If you click on the playlist, it's going to show you each and every class we offer. So if you go to the lead generation, I think there's mobile agent generating leads. Those are all right here. Click on the playlist and you'll see the class for today. All you got to do is click on it. It'll begin to play and you can follow along. You can even fast forward to where you need. Lastly, if you are not a video watcher, if you just want a quick cheat sheet of exactly what we went over today, you can also go to our MLS documents right in Paragon. And I apologize, it's kind of hidden up here. Most people don't even know it's here. But if you click on the MLS documents, you will find our education folder. There are 88 cheat sheets, one for just about everything. But all you have to do is type in what you're looking for. So let's say you are looking for a lead generation handout, maybe using cloud. You can actually start just typing the word lead, and all the lead generation handouts will pop up. You can actually click on the handout, you can print it off, it creates a PDF, you can share it, you could save it to your computer, however would work best for you. But I think you'll find that they're nice, easy cheat sheets. Let me see if I can open this one real quick. This is what we covered today. This is kind of our outline of our class. Probably not the best example here. Let's do the lead generation in cloud. You want to know how to find that link that we use, that squeeze or capture page. That's done right through Cloud CMA. Gives you big arrows of where to click. It'll walk you through. Again, you can save this to your computer or simply print it out. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season, and we look forward to hopefully having you in our upcoming classes in the beginning of the year, and hopefully at our hybrid classroom where we can see you once again in person. So thanks everybody for your time. Have a great day and happy selling. Go get some new listings. Thanks everybody.